Today, guys, on Beer Geek Nation, the much overdue question and answering. About a month ago now, I made a video talking about how I'm going to do a Q&A video, and this is the one. You guys posted your questions in the comments section of that video. I picked out a handful. If this is something you guys enjoy, if you want to see more of these, I can do more of the questions from that video, or you can ask more down here, and I'll continue to do them. I mean, they're easy to do, and I think if you guys do like them, I can just do some more of them. It's up to you. I'm an open book as far as Beer Geek Nation goes, pretty much anything, so just let me know. So I'm drinking on, I just reviewed it, depending on when this video goes up. I'm trying to think. Yes, you probably will have seen this already for my review for Apex from Bear Republic, so I just finished shooting that review, so finishing up the beer, awesome stuff. So let's get right into it. The first question from YouTube user Crafty Beer Reviews. He was a two-part question, but I thought it was a good one. What was the first craft beer that really opened your eyes and made you realize how amazing beer truly can be? For me, it was Nugget Nectar, Troegs Nugget Nectar. I had it, wow, so long ago. It seems like so long ago. Maybe, I don't know, I couldn't even tell you, 2007-ish, sometime in there. And it made me really realize, I drank it, and I'm like, why does this taste like grapefruit juice and citrus? And I found out it was the hops. I'm like, well, hops, they're supposed to be bad. You know, all the Bud Miller Coors, they tell me they have a bitter face and all this stuff. And I found out that's not the case at all. So Troegs Nugget Nectar, I think, is really, I was drinking a little bit of craft beer before that, but Troegs Nugget Nectar is really the one that got me into it full force, you know, both feet first kind of thing. Second part of the question, and I've gotten this one a lot, so I wanted to address it, so thank you for asking it. It says, you've lost a lot of weight and look very healthy and happy. Was there anything beyond diet and exercise that you did to achieve that? Cheers, man. Thank you for noticing. I get a lot of comments about that. I've lost about 70 pounds here in the last year, almost a year and a half. I'm not at my goal yet. I still have about 20 more pounds, and those have been rough. I've kind of like plateaued a little bit, but what I did, really, the first 6 to 8 months of my diet, whatever you want to call it, my weight loss program, I used MyFitnessPal, which is a website and an app for your phone. It basically tracks all your calories, tracks all your exercise. So that I found was really important to me, because that's kind of how my mindset, when I go full force into something, I do it well, and it's something I really want to accomplish. So with that, it allowed me to track everything, and there's a lot of craft beer in there, so you can actually add those in there. It tells you how many calories they are. So I knew I'd have to exercise more or eat a little bit less or something to accompany, to be able to review or drink some craft beer. I still, to this day, do between 80 and about 90 minutes of cardio a day. I do a little bit of weightlifting. I want to get more into that. I can't find the time to do it. I really need to. It's a piss poor excuse. But yeah, diet and exercise, that's the big thing. MyFitnessPal really worked for me until you figure out what works for you, and then you just kind of get into a routine. As far as drinking craft beer, I really try hard not to drink. I work second shift, Monday through Friday, and then every third weekend I have to work. But I work second shift, so it's 3:30 to midnight. So it's pretty easy not to drink craft beer, drink beer in general during the week. If I have a day off, I find it really hard not to have a beer if we go out to dinner or something. But weekends, you know, I do drink a couple beers, maybe a night or whatever. And if I didn't do that, I'd probably be at my goal weight, let's be perfectly honest. But, you know, you can't go crazy doing it. So again, thank you for everyone who's noticed, for all the kind words. It's meant a lot. I mean, it's been a long journey, and it's something I wanted to do for my family, for myself. It made me feel a whole lot better. So that was Crafty Beer Reviews. Thank you for your questions. The second set of questions, it's a question from Todd Carrick 1, asks, what would you consider your top 5 favorite breweries? Meaning, which breweries do you consider make the best beers? And this is another one I get a lot. So hopefully this question covers it. People see this. This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I have 3 for sure that are just no doubt I go to and say, these are the top 3 breweries, my favorite breweries. 5's a little tough, but I came up with it. My number one, and the only one, my number one brewery, and this is like the one I know that stands out to me, is Firestone Walker. They can do no wrong in my eyes. consistently produce great beers. They seem to get better every year, and beer after beer after beer, and they're just fantastic. It's a great bunch of guys, great company, very customer focused, and they do amazing beers. Second would have to be Stone. They're tried and true. And I shouldn't say second, but one of my favorite breweries is Stone. All their, year-round beers are fantastic. All their seasonal releases are fantastic. They're really stepping up their game, doing different things, and I really appreciate that. They could just sit back and say, oh, no, we're Stone. We're not doing anything new. They don't do that. They constantly keep pushing the envelope, and they do it well. The brewery, they don't always produce the greatest beers, but they try. They produce so many different styles. They did something like, I think it was like 45 different beers last year or something on top of their year-round stuff. And that's just amazing that they're willing to do that and put themselves out there. And I'm a member of the Reserve Society, so I get to try a lot of those crazy one-off beers, different barrel-aged beers, and they're all fantastic. Obviously they had some QC issues last year. But they were real customer focused. They refunded all those, all the money we spent on those beers. So they were really customer focused on that. And I think they do some of my favorite beers. They just do really big, aggressive, flavorful beers, and I really dig that. Lagunitas is a staple for me. Dollar for dollar, their beers are impossible to beat. They're big, they're flavorful. Most of them are hoppy. They have the malty ones. They've got barley ones. They've got everything. A bunch of American strong ales. They just do fantastic stuff, and it's all so affordable. And again, dollar for dollar, they are really, really hard to beat as far as they go. And I've never gone wrong with a Lagunitas beer. And finally, Allagash. I love Belgian beers. I love just that style, and I think Allagash is probably the best American brewery doing Belgian-style beers today, up there with Ommegang and all that. But, obviously the one drawback for Allagash, locally, they're really hard to get. We only get them one or two places. Out in Philly, you can get a bunch of them, but that's 2 hours away. You can't get bottles here. My sister and brother-in-law live up in Maine, so they're pretty close to the brewery. My parents live up in Massachusetts, so I get to try a lot of the beers. They are a bit pricey, but it's one of those beers when you have it, you're like, yes, I get the price. Their year-round stuff is fantastic. They're triple, they're white. I just had their Saison for the first time last night, and that was amazing. So they just, that's it. They're my 5 favorite breweries, my go-tos, my safe bets for sure. So thank you, Todd. Andrew Carlon 1 asks, question, if you could only drink one beer from one brewery the rest of your life, which would it be and why? And that is actually a really easy question for me. I get that question all the time, so I have had to think about it a lot, and it is Firestone Walker's Double Jack. Every time I have that beer, I'm reminded about how freaking great it is. It's a big, I think it's like almost 10% double IPA. It's, huge tropical flavors, that big West Coast vibe on there as well. It's super dry, super drinkable. It comes in 12-ounce bottles now, which is always a great thing when you're dealing with a 10% double IPA. It's year-round. It's really, really, it's reasonably priced for what it is. It's just a fantastic beer. That would be, if I could only ever drink one beer again, it would be Firestone Walker's Double Jack, without a doubt. You can go say, well, what about Goose Island, Bourbon County Stout? And, sure, that's probably my favorite beer, but I don't know that I would want to drink that, for the rest of my life. Double Jack, I just love. It's clean, it's refreshing, and it's just, every time I have it, I just fall in love with it all over again. It's just an awesome beer, and if you haven't had it, definitely make sure you get yourself some. So thank you, Andrew. All right, this is from iMoose1, and this is another question I get a lot, so this is why I picked it. What's up with the brew in a bag, the electric brew in a bag system? Do you use it? Do you like it? Any chance we'll see a full review? Yes. If a day goes by where I don't get an email asking where my review for that system is, it's a strange day. I am actually going to be brewing a batch of an Arrogant Bastard clone next weekend, so like a week from today pretty much. I'm going to be filming it. I'm going to be putting it all together. I've only actually used, I have very little time to brew, and it sucks. I've only used the system twice now. Each time, I've learned some new things and kind of figured out some of the kinks. Not even kinks, it's more user error than anything. The system works great. The firmware has been upgraded. All the bugs that I kind of dealt with the first time have been worked out of it. It's got new hopping schedules. It's an awesome, awesome system. I am going to do a full brew day on it. You guys are going to see it. It's going to be an Arrogant Bastard clone. I'm going to put it up. I might do a separate review for it. just to kind of sum up what I would like about it, maybe what could change. And the system even has changed since I've gotten mine. But yes, that video is coming. Look for it in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks, depending on content and how many beers I have to review and stuff like that. But yes, I promise I didn't forget about it. It's coming. Trust me. The other thing I always get on the other is my Tart of Darkness clone. It is ready to go. It is a year old. It has been a year in the carboy. Today it is a year old. I'm going to bottle it. I'm going to taste it on video and finally give you guys an update on that one. So that the Tart of Darkness clone is coming. The eBrew in a Bag system is coming. I promise. I've been slacking. I promise. I promise. I promise. It's coming. So thank you, iMoose1. And finally, Scott Miller. I think all these I've been saying ones after all these people's names, and I think they shouldn't have been there. So take the ones out of all the names because I copied and pasted and I see what it did. But all right, so I screwed up. Scott Miller asks, "Hey Chris, a bit of a sensitive. Actually, I brought this question up because I'm actually going to do a whole video on this next question. I think because it's something it's kind of weighed heavily on me a little bit, and I wanted to do a whole video on it. But I'll get into it." Scott Miller asks, "Hey Chris, a bit of a sensitive question for you to take a stab at if you're comfortable doing. What are your thoughts about craft beer and homebrewing enabling alcohol abuse? More specifically, have you found moderation a challenge in the presence of so many great beers, be it a stock cellar or homegrown tap? If so, what do you do to keep it in check?" Excuse me. Scott, I have wanted to talk about this for a long time. I absolutely think, doing Beer Geek Nation, being around all this craft beer, craft beer bars popping up all over the 100+ taps. I absolutely 100 equivocally think I know I drink more now than I ever have. There's days when I'm like, man, I drink way too much beer. I wake up and I'm like, oh God, why did I drink so much? And I definitely feel like I drink way too much beer. Am I probably, verging on a functional alcoholic? I don't know. I mean, what is the definition? I probably am. I mean, you drink one of these beers, an 8.9% bomber, and that's basically like 4 or 5 regular beers. So, I mean, do I think it enables alcohol abuse? I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. At one hand, I think it does. At the other hand, I don't know. I don't know that it does. For me, I definitely think I drink too much. Again, I try not to drink during the week, but that does, I do occasionally do that. If I have a day off or, a holiday or whatever, I do definitely do that. Having a big, a beer cellar does definitely make that a lot easier to do. If I didn't have it, I probably wouldn't drink as much. If I didn't have a stocked fridge up there, I probably wouldn't do it as much. So yeah, absolutely. I think it does kind of contribute more to me drinking more. As far as alcohol abuse, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak for myself. Like I said, I think I drink way too much, and every time I tell myself, like, maybe I should stop drinking more, I can usually do it, but I usually go back to drinking the same amount. So that's what it's something I struggle with a lot, because I don't know. Yeah, it's tough, and I think a lot. Like I know a lot of people that drink, a couple beers every night, and they just, drink a lot. And I feel like I drink a lot, and when I see what they're drinking, I'm like, man, you guys drink a lot. So I think in the community, there's probably more alcohol consumption than there should be, but that's what the community is. Do I think it's a good thing? No. Do I think moderation is key? Yeah. How do I moderate? I really, especially work right now. In the last couple months, work's gotten really stressful. I work in the healthcare field, and our business has really picked up, and I'm up for promotion at work, and it's just really, really stressful. And that does not help. That does not help at all, because I just want to come home, have a nice beer, and just relax. It kind of like just mellows me out. I shut my brain off and don't think about work. And that's another thing. I mean, that's probably not a good thing to do, but I come home, I exercise, and then I have a beer, all right. So, and it's not every day, but yeah, I think it is a struggle. I don't think craft beer aims to do that. I think when you get into this level of beer geek thing where you really, it's your hobby, I definitely think people probably drink more than they should. And I think the fact that we have so many choices now is going to contribute to that. I know Untapped, that Untapped app, that kills me just because I'm like, oh, I'll have this just so I can get the check in. I know I do that. So it basically turns drinking into a game. But what do you guys think about that? Comment below. I think I want to do a whole kind of thought out video about that. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. But thanks for the question, Scott. It's definitely something I've thought about and I consider all the time. So with that said, they're going to end it on that one. If you guys want to see more of these, let me know in the comments section. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And if you have any other questions you want to ask, feel free. I will sure to field them. So with that said, folks, remember life's too short. Drink amazing beers. Cheers.